Murder Weekly now has merch. Find shirts, mugs, and more with the Murder Weekly logo for sale at our merch store. There's free shipping and 10% off now with the coupon NEWMERCH10. Did we mention there's free shipping? Check out all the goods at calaroga.com, that's CALOROGA.com, or just look for the link in the show notes. Thanks for supporting the show. We really appreciate it.
Calaroga Shark Media. Hello and welcome to Murder Weekly. This episode is titled Murder in Hall H Part 2. Previously on Murder Weekly. Every year, the hallowed ground of San Diego Comic-Con's largest presentation room played host to the biggest movie studios, TV shows, and pop culture icons. Fans camp out for days to secure coveted seats for their favorite panels, and this year was no different. The room was nearly at capacity, filled with cosplayers, aspiring artists, and die-hard fanboys, all buzzing with excitement over a star-studded lineup of presentations, until a Hollywood studio exec was found dead. Could a famous voice actor, faced with the loss of his signature role, have snapped and gunned the exec down during a confrontation?
Just when it seemed the aging voice actor's potential motive was becoming ironclad, another shocking revelation emerged from one of the executive's own employees. Amelia, who had been on stage hosting the Warner Brothers panel, secretly came forward to detectives. A trembling wreck, the mousy woman unveiled a sordid tale of exploitation and harassment at the hands of her brutish boss over the past 2 years. The exec had essentially forced her into an ongoing sexual relationship by holding her career hostage. Do as I say, get groped or worse, or get fired. But their perverse arrangement had reached a fever pitch at Comic-Con. The exec's wandering hands grew more forceful and aggressive, emboldened by the anonymity of the raucous crowds. According to Amelia, he had flat out assaulted her in his suite the previous night and threatened increasingly violent reprisals if she didn't continue submitting to his twisted demands once they returned to LA. A torrent of tears flowed down her face as she opened up about how Dryden's ongoing degradation and abusive behavior had driven her to the brink of sheer desperation and fear. She couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, could barely function at all, knowing her nightmare existence could continue indefinitely. So had Amelia finally found the courage to stand up for herself and rid the world of her depraved tormentor once and for all? The panicked woman swore up and down she had no firearm and no clue how to even obtain one. But detectives Lauren and Brooks couldn't deny her credible and visceral motivation for the act. With a mounting list of potential suspects, the investigation had clearly spiraled far beyond a one-off case of fan-fueled passion. The deeper the detectives delved into Dryden's toxic inner circle and the depravities he had wrought, the more disturbing and twisted the case became. Just as they braced themselves to begin the arduous task of attempting to eliminate potential suspects one by one, another game-changing revelation emerged from a most unlikely source. A nameless, innocuous-looking Comic-Con attendee had fortuitously recorded the entire murder on their phone camera. They had been on the reserved aisle surreptitiously filming the superhero actor's surprise appearance on stage when the shocking killing took place right before their lens. There was no mistaking what the shaky footage revealed. The fatal gunshot had come from behind a large pillar in the back of the reserved seating section. While the brief glimpse was blurry, it was clearly not the famous actor, the voice actor, Amelia, or any of their other suspects squeezing off the kill shot. No, the real killer was someone completely unknown, someone who had infiltrated this pop culture mecca under the guise of fandom to exact brutal personal justice upon his target. A silent, skilled assassin striking from the shadows with horrifying precision at his intended mark. As the footage began circulating across social media and the internet, a grainy still frame of the hooded, half-obscured assassin emerged on screen. Text below simply read, "I am vengeance. I am the night. Lauren and Brooks shared one final exasperated look as the shocking truth sank in. In a city where the line between fantasy and reality had fully blurred, they now found themselves on the trail of San Diego's first-ever criminal sociopath, taking on the persona of vengeance himself. Hunting a murderer was one thing, but having to track down a bona fide Gotham-inspired vigilante who managed to disappear into a sea of over 100,000 costumed conventioneers? This Comic-Con had officially reached a whole new level of insanity, and the detectives had best remind themselves of the Batman's cardinal rule. No matter how crazy it gets, never become the very thing they were hunting. The following days saw Comic-Con abuzz with speculation and theories. Every corner of the convention center echoed with whispers about the mysterious assassin. Attendees huddled together, analyzing every frame of the footage, dissecting every detail. Lauren and Brooks, meanwhile, were swamped with tips and alleged sightings from the public. They set up a dedicated tip line and even enlisted the help of cybersecurity experts to sift through the deluge of online chatter. Their break came when a local comic book store owner contacted them with a potential lead. He reported a strange encounter with a man who had recently bought an old, obscure Batman comic, known for its portrayal of a dark, vengeance-driven Batman. The store's security camera footage revealed a hooded figure matching the assassin's description. With this new lead, Lauren and Brooks began piecing together the puzzle. The comic book depicted a storyline where Batman, driven to the brink by personal loss, abandoned his no-kill rule and exacted ruthless justice on Gotham's criminals. The detectives speculated that their suspect might be inspired by this particular storyline. The breakthrough came when they identified the purchaser of the comic, an ex-military marksman named Daniel Weaver. Weaver, who had a history of mental health issues and a deep obsession with Batman, had gone off the grid a few years back. His military training made him a formidable opponent, and his obsession with Batman provided the motive. Lauren and Brooks tracked Weaver's last known address to a rundown apartment complex on the outskirts of the city. They decided to stake out the location, hoping to catch a glimpse of the elusive vigilante. After hours of tense waiting, their patience paid off. Weaver emerged, fitting the exact profile, hooded, solitary, and moving with a purpose. They tailed him discreetly, their hearts pounding as they followed him through the labyrinthine streets of the city. Weaver led them to an abandoned warehouse which seemed to serve as his lair. The place was filled with Batman memorabilia, weapons, and surveillance equipment. It was a shrine to his dark alter ego. The detectives decided to move in. They called for backup and prepared to apprehend Weaver. As they breached the warehouse, Weaver fought back fiercely, using his military skills to evade capture. But Lauren and Brooks, seasoned veterans, managed to subdue him after a grueling struggle. Weaver was arrested and charged with the murder of the studio executive. In his interrogation, he ranted about justice, corruption, and the need for a true hero to cleanse the world of evil. His delusions had completely overtaken his sense of reality, driving him to commit the ultimate act of vengeance. With Weaver in custody, Lauren and Brooks felt a mixture of relief and exhaustion. They had unraveled the mystery and captured a dangerous vigilante, yet the case left them with a lingering sense of unease about the blurred lines between heroism and vigilantism. As they closed the case file, Lauren turned to Brooks with a weary smile. "Guess we won't be seeing any more Comic-Con madness for a while," Brooks chuckled. "One can only hope, but in this city, you never know. Maybe next year's convention will be a bit less eventful."
Murder Weekly is a Calaroga Shark media production. Written and hosted by Aidan I. Flanagan. Produced by Mark Francis. Executive producers, Mark Francis and John McDermott. Portions of this podcast may have been created with the assistance of AI.
This show, along with hundreds of others from Calaroga Shark Media, is available commercial-free on any player, hassle-free. Just look for the link in the episode or show notes.
Calaroga Shark Media.